So hello everybody, welcome back to Deb's Corner. It's Deb here. So in this video, I just wanted to chit chat about my recent trip to New York. Um, it's been over a year since I went to New York. So going there was very, what do you call it? Was very welcoming, very surreal. What I was shocked to see was how quiet and deserted New York was. It's getting back to what it used to be, but it's not there yet. I was surprised to see how quiet it was. Even at night, like New York never sleeps, so it's just quiet. Seems very surreal from the New York I knew before. So I went for there's a lot of graduations going on. So I went for my sister's graduation. Um, so went there and saw my mom. My dad passed away last year from COVID in April, so couldn't see him before he passed. But I think I saw him in February. So I went back to see my mom. She's getting older, so these moments are the moments where you have to just cherish the ones that you have here and know that they may not be here for too long. Even the young, too. Yeah, they're young, and the assumption is that, they have a long time to live. But no one knows tomorrow. That's the truth. So old or young, just cherish the ones that you have now. So I went to see my mom, and it got me thinking about old age, um, getting older, and how society or even individuals treat the old. I used to like it's life is a life cycle, right? You're born, you're weak, you need somebody to take care of you. And then you get to that, age where you're independent. I can do all things. You're strong, you can do all things. And then you get to that point where you're old again, and you need somebody to take care of you. You're slower. Your mind doesn't work as fast anymore. So being with my mom kind of just reminded me of where I'm going because we're all gonna get old. Kind of reminded me of where I'm going, but also reminded me of how lonely or forgotten the old can get. Um, we often think, and we often think as stay-at-home moms, as moms taking care of young kids, that it's very lonely. At least from my experience, it was very lonely. But I think the loneliness was what I felt most about raising young kids. Even I was the type of person that was out every day, but I still felt lonely. So I can just take that to being old, right? Feeling lonely in the sense that most of your friends maybe have gone. If you lived to a certain age, most of your friends maybe have died, or old, or in a nursing home, or you're not as mobile anymore, so you can't go out, you can't do much. You're stuck in the house, right? Unless somebody comes and takes you out or drives you around or whatever, right? Um, the loneliness that you feel when you're raising young kids is quite different from the loneliness that you feel when you are older. Because raising young kids, yeah, you feel lonely, but you can at least drive yourself. You're very independent, so you can drive yourself to places to kind of just feel that loneliness. It doesn't really feel it, but you try to feel it. You can drive yourself somewhere. But versus being old, you're in a space where, yes, I'm feeling isolated or I'm feeling lonely, but I can't really get out. I'm not mobile enough to get out and go do what I need to do, right? So you're kind of like just stuck. And I think the loneliness and the sadness seeps in when you are not independent enough to care for yourself. So I think that's the dilemma that old people face. Watching my mom, she's slower. Her mind works perfectly, but the body is failing you as you get older. Your body fails you, right? It gets weaker. It's carried you for so many decades, so it's getting weaker. Um, so I noticed that about my mom. And there's this constant fight of um wanting to do things because your mind still works, wanting to do things that you used to do, but then your body is failing you, and it's like I can't actually do what your mind wants it to do. So there's this constant struggle, constant fight, right, all the time within the mind and the body, right? And that struggle between the mind and the body translates as sometimes anger, sometimes anxiousness, and that's taken out on loved ones. So I felt that with my mom. My mom tends to be a bit anxious, like, oh, I gotta get this done right. Like this anxious, and it seems to be a rush to get this done like right away. Like if I say I want something, I want to get it done right away. Maybe that comes from the sense that okay, I don't have a lot of time on this earth. So whatever I want done, I want it done now. Um, yeah, so I experienced that. Um, would I say that my trip to New York City was fun this time around? No. Pre-COVID, my trips to New York City was the bomb because I would go on food excursions. I would, visit family, be with family, and just ultimately just relax, enjoy the ambiance of the city, right? But this time around, it was more subdued. You get the sense that people are trying to save money more than spending. You get the sense that people are just not in an eggshell, but just trying to recuperate from what they've experienced last year. So there's this sense of not renewal, but a sense of, hey, we're just trying to heal, right? I guess it's the word. We're trying to heal. We're trying to understand what we went through last year. Yeah, so I think this trip was more of a reality shock, right? It was like a shock to me because, yeah, I experienced COVID, well, I experienced COVID pandemic living. I think to, I guess what I'm trying to say, memory. Okay, so let's just divert. Memory has a way of preserving the good, sometimes the bad too, but has a way of painting an unrealistic picture of the current or the present time. It gives you the sense that, yeah, the memory that you have in your mind, it is exactly what it is right at the current moment. It's not until you go to a setting in that memory, you go to a person in that memory, or you go back to something similar in that memory in real life, right? And then you're actually faced with the present circumstance, and then you then realize that, oh my gosh, the memory I had of this place, of this person, of this thing isn't matching with what I'm seeing right now at the present. So when that happens, I think a break, a disappointment, a feeling of disappointment comes into place. A feeling that, wait, was that memory that I had there? Was it something that I conjured? Was it something that I made up, or was it actually happened? And we do know memory. You form memories because of things that have happened. Yes, true, but the way we remember things based on how we felt, right? It's how we felt. So that memory that you may have had must maybe based on a feeling that you felt before, maybe happiness, maybe security, maybe whatever. But I think for memory to continue to live on in a good place, we constantly have to revive, we constantly have to be intentional about creating good moments in life, good moments in life that turn into memories, good memories, right? So we have to be intentional about creating those memories. So go back to New York. Um, I keep saying New York. New York has a special place in my heart, but I keep saying New York because it's the place that my father passed away. It's a place that I grew up in. It has so much memories in New York. But going back there, I'm seeing New York as it is, isn't very much of an inviting place for me to say, oh, yes, I would love to be close to this place or live in the city. What makes me so fond of New York is the fact that I have memories, like good memories, surrounding New York, but not New York itself. I don't know if that makes sense. So New York itself is a setting, it's a place, but the memories I have surrounding New York, and New York is just in my mind, not a setting, but a atmosphere, right? It's more of a, because it's more of a dreamlike setting versus the realistic setting. Because the realistic, real New York is dirty, it's noisy, it's loud, it's aggressive, it's all that stuff. But in my mind, in my memory, I don't. Again, it goes back to the way we interpreted and felt things, right? In my mind, New York, the New York that I experienced was more of a artistic, creative, positive view, right? It was a positive viewpoint versus the reality of New York, which is what I just mentioned before. New York is a great city, love it. So my memory goes to the good parts, the positive parts about New York. And then go there now and actually seeing it with my mind's eye, maybe because I was away for so long, but seeing it with my mind's eye, I was like, my memory was checked, basically. My memory was checked, and it was more of the sense that, hey, girl, the New York that you so fondly talk about, you share about, isn't what it is today. And for me to finally accept that fact and to proceed accordingly is what's disappointing, and it's what I am mourning right now, because I don't feel like I can I can talk about New York the way I used to talk about New York anymore. I talk about it from this standpoint, the present time, right? No more dreamlike, unrealistic viewpoints of New York anymore, but it's actually what New York is at this moment, and then creating memories from this moment henceforth. And it makes sense because if I were to look at it from that viewpoint, um, the chapter of New York where my dad was alive has been closed. And I could look at me creating new memories um, while my mom's still alive um, as the new chapter of what I want New York to be. Um, and then that chapter may close again when my mom goes from this earth. And then I then start a new chapter of New York. So maybe memory isn't meant to just stay the same, because as with life, everything evolves. So maybe memory is not supposed to stay the same. Maybe we are supposed to constantly update memory. Um, and that goes with the bad too, right? So if you're constantly updating memory, we are not forgetting what we used to know or what we preserved in the previous memory, but we are trying to add on to those memories, trying to create layers upon layers of memories. And so that's how I looked at my trip to New York City as, yeah, a different memory. And this feeling, this memory I had this time around isn't very pleasant because I was faced with reality. My mom is older, she's slower. New York isn't as upbeat as it used to be. Um, didn't I'm a foodie, so I didn't get to do my food excursion. That's not selfish, whatever. But I didn't get to do my food discovery of the city because New York City has amazing restaurants. So I didn't get to do that discovery. And so a lot of that is just, hey, this New York that I know now is different from the one I knew before. And I just have to accept it and just move accordingly. Maybe next time I go visit, I'll create a different memory. Just be intentional. I'll be intentional about creating a different memory so that I can have a little bit of ounce of like joy. What do you for the world of just New York? This is the New York I know. Oh, this is New York I used to know. Oh, nice. But yeah, all in all, just to say that life is about being intentional about the memories that we create. because those memories live on forever in our hearts and in the way we tell stories to the future generation. But yeah, that is it. I just wanted to reflect on my trip to New York. But yeah, until next time, take care, guys. Bye.